Yeah, okay. All right. Look, I thought, so let's try, it doesn't matter how, how developed or not developed your prototype is. Let's do some sort of share out, even if you describe what you're trying to do and show something. But I just thought, since I've been talking all week about stuff, I thought I'd just show you very briefly two projects that we're in the middle of prototyping, and which I've sort of been guiding using the design thinking process. So these are not completed, and we use InVision software or the platform as our prototyping platform. So, one of these prototypes that we're still developing and testing is for people who are training to be builders, young guys in their 20s or so who are learning how to be builders. At the moment, the problem is they go out onto the work site and they work on different projects, and they have to assess how good their work is. Their work has to be assessed. Are they doing the right job? Are they doing a good job? Because they're also educating, and they'll work for some builder. So we worked with a number of different organizations, our team, and we thought that there was value in creating an app that was linked to their school and other places. We call it Pocket Trade. And so it has this is your front, what the interface looks like on your phone. And inside it, as you can see here just briefly, you're working, when the guys are working on a site and they're doing something, the roof or the walls or something, they've got a chance because they've got their phones, they take pictures of what they're doing. And those pictures serve a couple of purposes. One is the picture of the work that you're doing can be assessed by the builder who's managing the whole project and by your school, but also you can use it to advertise how good you are. So the image serves multiple purposes. So what we created, part of this was a sort of an image bank. And the other thing that we have inside of here, as you know, with YouTube is a really good resource for learning quickly how to do things. You probably know that. And it's the same for building and construction. If I want to learn how to insulate the walls, put insulation into my walls because I'm renovating, or in the roof, or if I want to change something else, I go to YouTube. YouTube has a short clip that tells me what to do, or fix my computer or whatever. So YouTube's really good. So inside the app as well, we have a bank of good links that tell you, remind you sometimes about how you should be doing this. Okay, so you've got your own work, you're working on some project, you're taking pictures, you've got information coming from YouTube, if you want to remind you about what you need to do. Plus you've got government information coming in here, which is about the rules and regulations about building. You have to build according to the rules. If you get it wrong, you get fined. So that was, and so you can see down here, this is not only just this is for guys who are learning. So they're building because that's part of how they learn, but they also have to submit assignments because they're training to be builders. So their assignment work also comes in here, and their pictures attached to their assignments. And so you can see, if you look here, here's an example, right, of like a YouTube clip that reminds you about how to do sink work and putting in pipe. So it's got course information. It's got there's a little bit of competition in there between people. It's got an image library and a few other things. So we haven't finished with that one yet, but that's one project where we've been prototyping. Another one I'll show you is this one over here. This other project, which we also haven't quite finished yet, called Project Green. And in this project, we're looking at helping renovators, so people who want to change their kitchen or their bathroom or outside. We're trying to help them renovate sustainably. So what we found out was, through working through it, that there are different stages in this process for people. There's a sort of inspiration phase for them, for a renovator, and they're looking on Pinterest, they're looking on Instagram, they're looking all around for ideas. They have a certain type of renovation, they've got a time and budget, products they need to select and return. So this is about homeowners who are managing their own renovation. They're not handing it off to somebody and paying them to do everything. They actually have to manage it. So we set up a basic prototype, which we're working on at the moment, that sort of takes you through the process. So when you sign up, you have to give information about your gas bills, your energy bills, and so forth, and also your objectives, or what are you trying to achieve. And then you choose products, and these products, you have information linked to them. We have stories about people who've done other renovations, because we're always looking for, when we renovate as homeowners, we're often trying to compare what we do with other people, get inspiration from that. Also, this had a link in, so we've got, at the back end, we have 3 sources. We've got professional builders who can sign up to this. And if they're good, they stay in the system and they offer their services. We've got retailers and government, and then homeowners coming in as well. And the first thing that happens when you sign up is, although not on this website, it's too slow, but when you sign up, you give some basic information, and it tells you about some of the choices, your options, and it gives you also, our app tells you, if you invest this much money, you'll get this much return. Because how it works is, in Australia, if I'm in a suburb and I have a house, and that house is worth $500,000 or something, and if I invest $100,000 in sustainable renovations, like solar and new glass and everything else, what is that worth to the market if I then sell the house? What's the return on investment? Okay, and there are sources of information that tell me what that's worth. So our app also gives you a rough estimate of what the return will be. So we're still a couple of people working on it. So I don't just talk about it; I do it as well. Anyway, so there's a couple of teams here. Let's just do a share out. It doesn't matter what you've got. You're going to explain your idea. You might explain the kind of budget constraints or the financials or something. You might explain or show how it would work, whatever you've got. And you're listening for, to go back to this, where did I put it? Somewhere here. You remember, you're listening for 4 things. Okay, so your job, so if you lead this and you talk to other people, then you need to explain what's your how might we. You need to say a quick overview, a demonstration of your solution, your prototype, a couple of highlights, and then tell that story. And then the people who are listening, they want to tell you, okay, I'm excited about that, that sounds great. Or, okay, that's great, but maybe you should make these changes. The third thing is, you tell me a story, then I've got more questions you need to answer for me because it's not clear or whatever. And then finally, you might have new ideas to suggest to that person that they should add. 4 things you're focusing on. I don't know how you want to do this. Just needs to be one team talks to another team, or parts of a team. Yeah. And you can talk and show whatever you've got. Talk about the business plan and listen for those. You want 4 pieces of feedback. You want to take notes on the feedback in case you want to modify what you've done. Okay, so it's important not to just get feedback, but note it down because you want to potentially change it. So I'm not sure how you want to arrange that, how that's best. Like I know you guys can maybe talk to. And who else have we got here? Team-wise, what have we got? So you're 3, right? Huh? Oh, okay, yeah, but we'll just go with what you've got. Yeah, 3 people. And you, okay, so why don't you 3, and what are you doing? Not yet a team. Why don't you come up here, work with these guys today, okay? So and you guys turn around. So explain your concept, explain your details, your level of details, and then you're looking for that. And we'll give that half an hour. So share and then swap.
First, every share, then we share.
Yeah, then you can do a share out here and swap. Because you want as much feedback as possible on your ideas.
I did. Did you fill the book? When did you do this? I never received it. No, that's okay. Have you registered? Did you sign the registration sheet? Or then your certificate is not there, so you not get a certificate. Can you register on the Google Sheet? But then unless you register on the Google Sheet, your registration is not complete. It's a Google Doc. When you see they have seen the brochure. It's a Google Doc. Brochure में ही now it's too late. Yeah, so that is like, this is not the brochure. This is the course details. There's even a brochure. People sir को पता है, but then तुमने Google का website क्या किया? I don't know. I will talk to you. See, for the Gyan registration, there are 3 steps. First, you register on Gyan portal. Then, first fill out your details. Then you go to the Google Doc. You fill that out. And plus their BTech students, they don't have to pay. I have taught the mechanics. I've never seen class. I taught the second years. I teach the mechanical lab. How many sections are there? Yeah, 2 sections. I have talked about this. यहाँ पे इसको फिर तो लास्ट में
So are you guys ready to share out to them something about a concept you want to explain to them? Get feedback? Is it another good?
You know the concept.
Okay, you want to do swap around now or something? Yeah.
Let's.
Yeah, either way, I mean, you work it out, but you need to get feedback from If somebody's presenting, you can present to as many people as you like.
So you will publish what you're going to do tomorrow on an online platform. Put it on. That is also I don't think that is dangerous. No, I think that is everything, everything is out there. Everything is small. What someone starts talking, it can be a real security threat. You think that's they don't take access. And what happens if your website gets hacked? It becomes all your data with everything that you will do. No, but then this would be a very lucrative site to hack. I tell you what. Because since all your data is there and like all the data of one that you're going to do. No, but then my problem with this is that you're saying that there are a lot of online channels, right? There are lots of online diaries that you can jot down what you're going to do. You can schedule your life properly. Fine, that's fine. But then that's only accessible to people. The moment you make it accessible to other people, you're creating vulnerabilities. The more access points there are, the more vulnerabilities there are. Right? Right. Therefore, I'm saying that this system is very fragile. And it can be easily hackable if someone is really getting into the system. And it is attractive for such reasons. Because there is a lot of data here that we need that can become useful information. So, already already have tests. See, and this is a general criticism about people who are in like first year, second year engineering right now. For them, every solution is build an app. Build an app for this, build an app for that, build an app for alarm, build an app for like getting up, like we're building an app for waking up in the morning. This is absurd level of application. Grow up and get up in the morning. It's simple as that. So there are a lot of criticism against that idea that it's not easier. You are oversimplifying the matter. We are not sure which is the way to how they're not simple or not. But my point is this, I mean, like what you said, like, I have an app for a person who will come and knock on my door. Right? Why do you need this level of mediation? Why do you need an app to set people to come and knock on your door? I mean, you can just tell your friends and make sure that they have.
Like Google, so main one is that
Can I just say, sorry, can I just say too, it's a good point about the tip. Everybody knows this, I suppose everybody has heard the story of the Russians and the Americans in space and the pen and the pencil. Everyone knows that story. Okay, so the Americans and the Russians are in space, and the Americans were trying to figure out how to develop a new pen that you could write in space with. So they were spending. So same message. Keep it simple.
Yeah, keep it simple.
yeah. So I suppose that the people very stand on. So later on, it's found complicated. So basically, we are not going to supply them food or control the entire time. So morning, we just want to make sure that they have good breakfast to start with. Okay. So how to solve this problem is we will be following some shopping items and then we will be getting that every morning. We can have a good focus because we have in our club, suppose there are 50 or 60 people, they are all coming in this place. So we can guarantee this partnership. We can count it on self and those who are members, they have to buy this thing because they are coming from their own side. We want to buy it. We have to sign up. That is where visibility guiding point. And then there is companionship. And then if you are going alone versus when you have friends to go into this club. Yeah, in this club, you have friends. So when you are having there is no bound, then we can all sit together, we can meditate, and have a good start of the day, we can socialize together. So there is no end for fun. It's just even in a college, there's a club. All those friends also. Anybody who wants to have a club, join.
Basically, your proposition is a club.
Yeah, a club.
Basically, like, I think this college needs a nanny. Basically, it's just that. That is what you need. Right. A nanny, this is like a nanny system. Like a nanny to tell you to sleep, a nanny to tell you to wake up, a nanny to go have food.
Yes, yeah. They propose on that as well. So, what do you have? Now there is a monitoring system. So when you go to each place and you want to commit that okay, I want to do 2 hours a week, but doing this on your own is very difficult. So what you tells you that write this thing and paste it on a refrigerator. So many times you can watch it. But no. On the phone, this is an example. Not okay, try to fix it. So yeah. But yeah, it is not having a big effect. It works up to a limit, but not. So basically, when people monitor, there was already a research on it. So basically, if you are on dieting, you want to lose weight. So if you are monitoring on weekly basis versus that you are monitoring every day. And those who are monitoring every day usually a bit faster than those who are monitoring on weekly basis. So monitoring is very important.
Actually, it is vice versa. If you do something, if you monitor your physical and you monitor it every day, it is frustrating to not see the drop. If you do it at, let's say, decided intervals, which is like slightly more than one day, then you will be able to see that change, which will inspire you and motivate you more. This is actually like, from a dietitian's perspective. Like, they also tell you not to monitor your weight.
I got this from there was some research. Now I'm not talking about dieting. Okay. You have monitoring, making is monitoring. Monitor the right way. How it should be done to right way. So as these guys are doing everything, the club will be giving them how you're doing, what you want to do, whether you how much you have achieved. So that way they can be on the weekly basis. The who is doing the best, how far you have reached. That way they can be given some small little prizes or something, so that they will be motivated about it. So this is like inspiring them to do this. And then on the next stage, you can make more people join. Then okay, this club we are having fun, you want to join. So this you can organize the previous later you arrive. Then you can shout to everybody, this is what you're doing. Let the public see what is it doing. So that will get more people in the club this way. This is the basic goal, right? So to do it through a social setting, through a club. Yeah, yeah. There are so many things. For example, a shopkeeper, you are calling and talk something or you can have a subscription fee later on. Yeah, something there are things. And then, they will figure out.
Which year are you?
Me, I don't know. So that is just right.
Then are you more present are like you?
Oh yeah.
Where are you? So basically, our idea was to move towards, like the larger topic was moving towards a healthy lifestyle on campus, and our specific goal was to create a healthy eating space. For this, what we are doing is we have a DIY restaurant, and that, and we have an organic farm. That is so basically, all our products are locally sourced. They are grown locally, and we have a zero waste, zero plastic model. So everything that we produce gets used in the DIY restaurant, and the waste from there is used as compost in our garden. So what the DIY formula is that we will have 2-minute recipe packages. So, for example, if you want to have Spanish omelette, so we give you the entire setup. You have a solar tube, right? We have a solar tube on your table, and we give you, say, the spices, the hot vegetables, the egg, etc. You have to make the food yourself. So, he is the mind business.
Solar solar, you are directly extracting the energy from absorbing the solar whatever thing from the sun, as well as the radiation. Then solar to all the solar power to we can
Solar power will be first converted into
and building like rest also should tell the energy efficient building as well. maintain the solar architecture.
Yeah.
So, have the engineers finished the conversation? Are the engineers satisfied?
The question that made me
So, then we have, this was the idea, like you use your own hands to see where your food is going, and you use your own hands to do the food. So you're not evicted out of the food production system. You see it happening in front of you. And this kind of will infiltrate community space into the cooking with your friends, because we don't have access to that kind of space right now. We can't cook it out, and we can't eat cook and eat together. So we are trying to like aid build autonomy in the region, because you are doing your things, settling your things yourself. That is about independence and autonomy. And also about being sustainable, eating properly, and eating in a ecologically conscious way without doing any damage to nature. And for extremely lazy people, we have a small salad, live salad bar. So this excuse me. Hello. How much longer will we take? Yeah. 10 minutes. So yeah, you order the tea at around 5 minutes. You come by the tea or something. So yeah, so this, yeah. So we have like a small salad, like salad and fruit box of plate. Refuse to cook. So that's the idea. Yeah. See, if you approach the idea from the initially resistant place, that I don't want to cook at all. Then you are not my audience at all. Then I'm not. That's just what.
Not talking to you.
Yeah, it's not talking to you. See, there are either doctors who will talk inside their influences, and there will be people who will follow. So if you're a chief head who is not going to come to this show at all, then we just kind of keep it behind, because you can't be everyone. Oh, our model is yes, it does. But then if we are approaching for financing, we are approaching people who want to invest in sustainable development, who want to invest in sustainable energy, etc. And also this thing is generating employment. In the sense we have food garden. This is a cause worth investing in. It's no, that is it's not and plus this will see our revenue model. Our revenue model is you pay for daily time. And your minimum payment. Yes. Hours. Yes. You pay for table time. So, I mean, of course, we were not planning on not charging it. It's not, you don't come and for free. So, the cost of this is paying for it. And that's how we generate revenue. And because we are controlling, it's our part. We are controlling what like there is certain amount of control over the method. Right? So we can adjust our table time cost according to what we are offering as menu value.
Now, can I ask, and this is also a question for you other guys, but just because you're talking about it, if you were going to prototype this to actually show students what you meant, so that you know, what would you do?
If I were prototyping this,
Yeah, what elements of it?
so one, I organize a cookout one, like so, like a barbecue, okay, and I'll organize a barbecue, and I'll have like say, or 5 barbecue stands, and I'll ask people to cook for themselves, just to experience how liberating cooking for yourself is.
Right. Yep. So
Even if you have a very busy schedule and you have like a community that is coming together to cook, it is a very liberating thing.
Sure.
Which is why you have campus cookouts on other campuses. It is only this campus that does not have anything like that. And these are so our effective thing is the 2-minute mark, because I'm sure you make Maggie in your room, in your electric kitchen, right? So that's what we are playing at. You can't make Maggie in 2 minutes, that's true. But then our menus are 2-minute menus. So we advertise it as a 2-minute menu. So because then that will have an instant connect with young people, because they're used to making their Maggie. So they'll connect to the night, the 2-minute menu. But it's a 2-minute healthy menu. It's not just sodium and salt. Maggie is just that. It's a lot of sodium and refined carb. But then this is a healthy, freshly grown, locally produced thing that you're putting in your system. It is healthy. Sorry?
Daytime is not without any kind of noise power. Night time it will be at that place it can take it parallel to the then it will be the first post there the lots of questions to you can use this thing for us and you can what is the very perspective. So this reminds me of all you can incorporate the 1960s. Yeah. They were very
How is it now?
No, it's not that. It's not. I'm saying the money perspective. Money. So there. That's interesting. Thanks for clear. Okay. So then we go this like the for the guys who wait for their house about the new they have this. But they actually have the head and the future.
So we are not saying that we don't need financial backup. We are, of course, we need financial backup. You're pitching this, therefore you're pitching this idea to someone who prospective investor who will invest in this.
So I was saying like all you need to pay. You save a lot of money in the innovators, sector. Just because you save a lot of money. So if here it can be managed somehow, you can put your student, you can save even more money. All you have to manage is the raw material.
Yes.
Yeah. But when it comes to managing part, that's going to be free.
Right.
Because see, more people that want to be at the same time on the same location, they have to know on the production and they are together and they have to work together for themselves.
No, it's not like that. You're not getting the argument. Every table has a cookbook.
Yeah.
Every table has a cookbook. And the moment you say that I want to eat the Spanish omelette, you order like that. I want to eat the Spanish omelette. So there's a ready-made package. Like, have you ever used Cookie Basket? So there's an app. So say for example you want to make karai paneer and you order the karai paneer package. They give you the paneer, they give you the spices, they give you the vegetables.
Oh, yeah.
It comes together. So you just have no, you don't have boil it. It's all lunch vegetables. Then you have to start frying it. You start fry the onion, you put the oil, the onions, then you add a little bit of spices, good dress like that.
Can you put
Sorry? Yeah, so then whatever is in season, we do that. Whatever can be grown, we grow that. I can't.
In weekdays they don't work. In weekends
I do. See, when I am in Calcutta, I work in weekdays also. Depends on the person. Point is that it is not for this is not a rest. This is a restaurant for campus. It is specifically targeted towards campus. It is not a restaurant like where are you from? I don't know. You're from Calcutta. This is not like no campus. This is a restaurant specifically for campus.
so what is which model is better for this? Subscription based, so they are limited number of members, make it from or they come we pay.
Yeah, it's on the
So we doing yourself right. But changes that we should make as a software development. You have to do it yourself. So, and every day I have to do the next. But today I felt that to be my kind of food that I have my cultural whatever. So I come here and you said everything today I want to do.
yeah.
Because we are defining.
Without the refinement, it will be difficult because we might not have the ingredients.
So I already subscribed here. I say that I come here and daily one stop by whatever. And I deliver these are the kinds of diets that I would like to cook for myself. And these are the ingredients of that diet. Which I did not replicate anywhere.
So I'll tell you something. See, for example, if you're South Indian, okay, and you want locally produced gunpowder, which they use in their food, right? It's difficult to get gunpowder. Right? So we can't cater to every package, or we can't cater to every diet. But what we can cater to, see, over a period of time, we get a sense of what our customers like, what kind of customer base we have, what kind of menu should be prepared. So that it will be a constant process of readjustment. Right. So, but if we give every customer like someone wants South Indian diet, someone wants North Indian diet, someone wants rice-based diet, someone wants roti-based diet. So whatever can be managed locally in our farm, we'll do.
Because that's important, yeah, because you're working against the importer.
Yes.
Yeah.
And and that will keep our costs down because we are not going for supply chain. Like, so at every contact point in the supply chain, the prices go up, right? And that kind of adds to the prices of wheat. So to keep prices low, we are cutting out the supply chain. We're using our own supply, and of course, like things like flour and wheat, that we can't grow. We can't grow rice and wheat and everything. So that gives source for it. But then rice, flour is easily available every day. So essentially, the spices, the rice, the wheat, they will be sourced from outside. But the fruits, vegetables, everything is good. So whatever we can grow, we will.
I'll just stop you for a second because I wanted to wrap up before we did. This is great,
Okay.
but there was just something I wanted to say for the end of the day,
Okay.
so that that's out of the way. So if you could just give me 5 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chana, please stop broadcasting.
No, I didn't. I guess you.
They didn't stop of its own. Why is the camera off? How does the camera go off? Okay, turning the camera off. Oh, it's completely.
Yeah. So what I wanted to just quickly wrap up was focused on tomorrow, if you like, in terms of any kind of presentation. And I did want to explain to you what happens next. So in the case of my students, they would have brought along, they would have prototyped, menus, for example, here, or they might have done a website. They may have a service sort of walkthrough, right? So in the class like this, they might have a mock-up table idea. Yeah, they'd have it in the class, and they'd have people come along and they'd test that concept. Right? So we do that. That would take us to that sort of prototyping stage. Then we'd be looking at implementation. This is the last stage. And even with students who've had 12 weeks or so, by the time we get to implementation, this is the idea that your business actually goes out to market, right, on a small scale. So even the students don't get to that point in one semester. They could in two, but we never have follow-up. It's only a one semester course. So it as you know, it takes a while. But in that last stage of implementation, there are certain things that we're trying to do to get the idea into the world. So we assume we've got these different kind of prototypes out there. We keep on iterating. That as we test, we get feedback. So this case of run an event is a way of testing the prototype and getting feedback and then modifying. Right? So we keep doing that. We run a live prototype. So you run your solution for a couple of weeks out in the real world. So it's a short run of with the right customers or beneficiaries. You see what happens. Set it up, make that investment, and you make that investment because again you want to find out if this really works and whether it's. And then a pilot is a longer term test of your solution before going to market. If you have a look on the Design Kit website, you'll see the ways in which people got into this implementation stage. If you look at those different cases, there are 6 or 7, you'll see how they moved into this last phase. So just going back and reminding you about the whole process. 3 spaces: inspiration, ideation, implementation. At each stage, there's a kind of a movement towards convergence or divergence. There's different things that are happening, and you're moving through all the time with people to develop and improve your idea. And that's the whole process. So, in terms of what you can do next, there's some suggestions. These suggestions are from IDEO, but actually, if you go on the Canvas site that I've set up for this, there are more suggestions about things that you can do next. When we come tomorrow, to talk and sort of do a wrap up as well about the week and about some of the concepts and things like that, it would be good again to hear from you about what you've learned this week in terms of, and also in terms of the project, and in terms of feedback that you got and what you might do next and how you might take that further. And I think that'll be enough for today.
Okay. I think Chi will be here in 5 more minutes. Please stay back for the I'll stop the podcast.